Well, for China, the first tip is to assess the need for a product in a market. A lot of New Zealand companies that sell well internationally go into China assuming that with all the development that their product will just do well. And I think particularly in the growth areas for us, which aquaculture and wine are very exciting prospects for the future. A great deal of homework needs to be done on what Chinese consumers want first. Endurance above all else, and faith in oneself and the efforts that one makes rather than measuring every week's success. The other is the Chinese are very hospitable people, and they're extremely positive in reacting to business people coming into their market and reading that as cultural. It's part of the hospitality, the intrinsic hospitality of the Chinese. It doesn't mean you've got a deal. And I think probably New Zealanders need to penetrate a lot more deeply than they do. And that sort of can be a bit of a mask for a while. So many people come back very enthusiastic that they've achieved something great in China when they've struck Chinese hospitality. So it's a lot more complex to delve into China than I think New Zealand companies assume. So I think I've learnt that over the years. I think to go to China not just to visit potential business partners, and certainly not just to look at the bright, shiny coastal cities. I mean, Shanghai and Beijing are some of them, in part, some of the most modern cities in the world. But China has the national GDP of Angola. It's still largely a developing country. And the hinterland in the west are extraordinarily backward and poor. Go and see all that as well, and try to just take an almost ad hoc look at the country. Take 3 or 4 days extra and look around and try and get a real sense of the place. I think our greatest opportunity is our innovation and our technology. Our commodity business, which is wool and wood and whole milk powder, there's not much capacity that we can bring on stream in, say, the next 3 to 4 years to make a difference. We're pretty stretched as it is. And if we look at growth, particularly with China, and China is now really our number one trading partner, because Australia's number one, but it's just 2 merged domestic economies. So we have to put that in a special category. I think for our future with China, we're not going to get it out of our commodities. We have to find a way to get it out of our innovation and technology, which New Zealand has great wealth in, but we have to find how we can use that in the China market. Well, I think first of all we have to come up with a funding structure, because many of these companies are pre-revenue or they're currently small. That's something that government can be a catalyst to, but we have to come up with a combination SME, angel investment fund and private equity fund structure, and not just leave it to the government as a burden, which New Zealanders tend to do too much, but perhaps some semi-private board that can vet the candidates so they're truly assessed as for what they can do in China, and then help those businesses to build platforms there. We've got a number that are doing it already, and so there's some good lessons we can learn from. Mahon China Investment Management Limited is an investment bank. It has operated largely based in Beijing for the last 25 years. It remains a New Zealand registered company. I am a shareholder in the company, but I share the business with my 12 other business partners, most of whom are mainland Chinese, and we've had different waves of growth since the middle 80s when we first started it in China. We've had private equity funds under management. We've advised New Zealand companies. Clients have included Zespri, Fonterra. Currently, we're largely involved in M&A work of foreign companies going into China and acquiring assets to take a position in the market. And also we have an extensive boardroom advisory practice, and that includes a number of New Zealand companies.